So we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, as we do every day. And it just kind of piqued my interest on top of the fact that Justin Fields has officially signed his rookie contract with the Chicago Bears. And then I thought about, Michael, your career path when you left Boston for a hot second to go and work as a columnist for the Chicago Tribune before making a triumphant return a few weeks later. So I want to really get your insight, given all the time you spent in Chicago. And
I was
the
there. I was there for a
good community.
Good 3 months. Good 3 months. It's wonderful.
Which makes you a perfect source for perspective on the situation that Justin Fields is stepping into. So let's say Aaron Rodgers is dug in. Let's say he's legit dug in, not showing up at training camp, not playing in 2021. Packers are rolling out Jordan Love. Now, I think the kid has potential to surprise some people, but nonetheless, he'll be a first-year starter. All right? So maybe the Packers are out of contention. The Lions, as many nice things they're saying about Jared Goff, the Lions are, respectfully, humbly, the Lions.
Right.
And then the Vikings,
The Vikings?
we'll see. I wouldn't classify them as contenders. So the North, not only does the North remember, but the North may be wide open with the sabbatical, retirement, whatever you want to call it, of Aaron Rodgers. And I was just thinking about Justin Fields, because Michael, I'll pop quiz you real quick. I'll pop quiz your
Okay.
Bears knowledge. Does the number
All right,
3,838 mean anything to you? 3,838. Does that number mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. I can't wait to hear the answer to this. Days since some
All right.
quarterback
It means a lot
did
to
something.
Bears fans.
And that is what?
It is the amount of passing yards that Eric Kramer passed for in 1995, which stands as the Bears' single-season record to this day.
That's incredible.
Another way of
That's
saying
incredible.
that is one of the most
Wow.
incredibly embarrassing, not just incredible stats, but one of the most incredibly embarrassing stats. And I was just talking to a friend of mine who was a diehard Bears fan the other day. These Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer.
4,000-yard passer. Wow.
In franchise history,
That's nuts.
they've never had a 4,000-yard
And we're
passer.
proud
I
of
believe
it.
Joe Namath.
We're proud
I believe
of
Joe
it.
Namath was the first to throw for 4,000 yards. So it's like, I mean, it's hard not to throw 4,000 yards in the NFL. Like, I don't know how much easier they can make it to throw the football. You can't touch the quarterback, you can't touch the receivers. So it's like, I say all that to just say, man, I look at the division, and even though the Bears have never succeeded in developing a franchise quarterback for the long term, they made a huge play for Jay Cutler, obviously. Various people, whether it's obviously Jim McMahon, we know, Eric Kramer. Some people have had success.
I mean, so many.
Here and there, but nothing sustained, obviously. I just wonder if you feel like Justin Fields can be the guy to, at minimum, throw for 4,000 yards, but maybe solve this quarterback problem going back to Sid Luckman, and just what it would mean to that city, that franchise, that fan base, to finally have a QB. I mean, let me tell you, this is how bad it is in Chicago, because I was talking to my boy about this.
Wow.
I'll say this and then I'll let you go. Like,
All right.
they had their pick of the litter when they traded up to draft Mitchell Trubisky.
They traded up for him. They
it's
traded
not-
up to draft him.
Right. And Myles Garrett went first.
Wow.
So it's not like they're sitting back saying, oh man, well we had to settle for Mitchell Trubisky. They could have had Mahomes. They could have had Watson. And they said, nope, the guy is Mitchell Trubisky. That's the guy we got to have in this draft. I mean, tortured. It's whether they pick the wrong ones or the wrong people doing the picking, they cannot get it right to save their lives, let alone save their season. So with that, you had a cup of coffee and a deep dish pizza in Chicago.
First of all, deep dish pizza is not my thing. Maybe that's why. That's one of the many reasons I didn't make it there. But I gotta
Deep dish
say,
pizza is delicious. What is your issue with deep dish pizza? That's whack. That's a whack. That's a bad take. It's a bad.
Okay,
that's not a good take.
You know what my issue is with deep dish pizza? It's lasagna. I mean, like, it ain't pizza, man. It ain't pizza. It ain't pizza. That's a nice little pasta dish.
Awful.
It's fine. I'm not feeling it. It's not for me.
For such a well-dressed man, you have poor taste.
It's not for me.
You have poor taste.
Okay, sure. Great.
I question your culinary taste.
Is that okay? Is that okay to
fine.
say?
I just don't understand.
You know what I like?
Is it because you have to eat it with a fork? You don't like pizza you got to eat with a fork? Or like some people eat with a fork? Yeah? Does that bother you?
No. You can't do that. You can't do that. I know we talked about this before, and you say I have bad taste on stuff, but I don't understand from where you are. It's almost like, being in Rome and looking around and saying, hey, you know where to find any Italian food around here? Dude, you're in freaking Connecticut.
I'm in the pizza capital.
Great pizza.
I'm in the pizza capital of the country.
Great pizza.
Yeah, I know.
Connecticut and New York, neck and neck. Neck and neck. You go to New Haven, you'll be happy. You get a slice of pizza anywhere in New Haven, you're gonna be happy. So that's real. That's real pizza. Ain't no deep dish. That's the good stuff. Deep dish, not for me. Anyway, time in Chicago. This will really make me further detestable to most people who live in Chicago. I managed in just 3 months. I managed to live on both the north side and the south side. Take a stand. Get off the fence. What are you? Cubs or White Sox? How about both? Anyway, maybe there's a sense of pride in not having a 4,000-yard passer. Because Chicago's a tough place. Chicago's a tough city. It's a city of Butkus and Papa Bear and Walter Payton. So it ain't about some pretty boy dropping back, lofting the pass. It's about the original black and blue division. The black and blue division. Come on, we do it the right way.
All right.
Come on now. It would mean a lot. In all seriousness, it would mean a lot to have Justin Fields be successful. I think he will be successful there. Only thing I worry about is the people who drafted him. I don't want to come in. It's like I'm drafted into I'm inheriting your mess. I'm drafted into your mess. There's this whole war going on. I'm drafted in, and you're not going to do what's in my best interest. You're going to do what's in your best interest. And it might be in my best interest to play, but maybe to buy yourself another year, you put me on the bench. Because if I play,
I disagree with that.
We go 4-12.
We go 4-12. I don't think
I might get fired.
Playing them too early could backfire. You can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with waiting to play a quarterback. Whether that's midseason, whether that's next season, whether that's first 4 games, there's no downside to that. There is a downside to playing him before you believe he's ready. But there's no downside to waiting a few games.
Let me tell you what the downside is. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 examples. One, you say, hey, that worked out perfectly. The other one, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. The plan was to play Justin Herbert 2021. Plan was not for him.
I don't know if it was that late, but I remember. There's been 2 times lately. I'll jump ahead real quick. There've been 2 times in the last couple of years
there would have been
where
a downside.
You said, why the hell were they messing around with Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah.
Cleveland and Los Angeles. You like what? Because remember when Baker Mayfield came in against the Jets? He was like, why would they mess around with Tyrod Taylor in the first place? And the same with Justin Herbert last year. And I like Tyrod Taylor.
I'm gonna give you another one. Can I give you another one?
What's the other one?
And this one you might say, well, what are you talking about? But okay,
Tom
knowing
Savage.
what we know now, Patrick Mahomes. I know the plan was to have him come in and watch Alex Smith, which is what he did. He played that last game of the season. He played that game, and people were like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yep. And then he started the next year, and as we know, he won the MVP.
Yep.
But did he really need to sit? You tell me. Did he need to?
Maybe not.
Patrick Mahomes doesn't.
It didn't hurt. But that's my point. Here's what we know.
It didn't
hurt.
it may have hurt the
Would he have
Kansas City
thrown
Chiefs.
50 touchdowns? Would he have thrown 50 touchdowns if he played as a rookie?
40.
Maybe.
Maybe he threw 40.
Maybe he'd have been the best
He would've
rookie
given them a
quarterback of all
dimension.
time.
Maybe they would have
Maybe.
advanced. Maybe they would have advanced.
But we know it didn't hurt him. We know it did not hurt to sit behind Alex Smith for a year. Maybe it didn't help. Maybe it did. But we know it didn't hurt him. And that's my point about, like, with Justin Fields, you got Andy Dalton. There is no harm in letting Andy Dalton keep the seat warm until the kid's warm. Because going back to that conversation with my friend, it's like, as much as we love Justin Fields coming out of Ohio State, like, my guy was like, I haven't seen him in a Bears uniform. And I understood what he meant by that. Not just your generic, oh, well, you know what? I don't know if he can play or not. I have not seen him in a Bears uniform. Not just any NFL uniform, in a Bears uniform. Because no matter what, they have just never gotten it right. And it can't always be they picked the wrong guy. Their developmental process must be flawed in some way, shape, or form. And so,
well, it can't be. Why can't that be it, Mike? Because we know the last time they did
listen,
they picked the wrong guy. That was the story.
Well, no, I'm saying it can't always be that. The same thing with the Browns, where quarterback careers used to go to die.
What did you say the other day?
It can't always be that you keep getting it, that you're picking the wrong guy. At some point, it's about the process and how you're treating those quarterbacks, or as the case may be, mistreating those quarterbacks.
Remind me what you said the other day. You said something the other day. I was talking about Brooklyn. And I said they're playing great, not that they are great. And you said something about habits and behaviors.
I think it was Socrates.
What was the line?
You are what you do repeatedly. Excellence is an act, therefore. Excellence is not an act, therefore it's a habit. Or excellence is a habit, not an act.
Different context.
I just butchered that.
You are what you do repeatedly.
Yeah.
So they picked the wrong guy with Mitchell Trubisky. And they picked the wrong guy. They signed the wrong guy. They traded for the wrong guy. They always. Yeah. That's what they do. That's what they do. So yeah, it's always that. It's always that. So
no,
finally,
what I meant was it's not always the guy is inherently not good. That's what I meant. I mean, it's not always on the player. Like, oh, we picked the wrong guy because Justin Fields just can't play. It's like we talked about the quarterbacks and who's most likely to succeed when we were doing a senior superlative game. And I said Mac Jones because Mac Jones took a job at Apple. Mac Jones took a job at Microsoft. Everybody else, for whatever one reason or another, whether it's the circumstances or whether it's their track record or lack thereof, you wonder, whereas Mac Jones is going from Alabama to the Patriots, from dynasty to dynasty, and I'm putting my stock in him in terms of most likely of these first-round quarterbacks to succeed. The opposite end of that spectrum, even though one guy is in Jacksonville playing for a guy who's never coached on the NFL level, but he's also never lost. Neither of them have ever lost, Urban Meyer or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
San Francisco, great roster. Trey Lance gets the city we talked about earlier, but Trey Lance, obviously, his experience was a question mark, legitimately so, his lack of experience. Yeah. And who am I missing? Oh, and Zach Wilson's gone with the Jets. Right. So you have the Jets and the Bears. Two franchises that have never gotten it right, or it's been an awfully long time since they've gotten it right at the quarterback spot. And that's what I worry about with Justin Fields. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the organization.
Worried about the situation.
I believe that he's made from good stuff. I'm worried about the situation. Yeah. So the longer he can sit, the better. I think.
Tell me if this is a stretch. I'm just trying to figure it out. I really am, legitimately. Because I wasn't there that long to really get, to do a deep dive on why Bears quarterbacks historically struggle. But I was there. I remember it well on Michigan Avenue. Now listen, Mike, I've always lived in cold weather cities. And I've never really enjoyed the cold weather, but I've always lived in cold weather cities. Go figure. So I've dealt with the cold of off Lake Erie in Northeast Ohio. I've dealt with the cold of the three rivers coming together in Pittsburgh, Boston, New England, cold weather. But Chicago, something about Chicago, man. It was something about the cold of Chicago.
Yeah, it's different. I
remember one day in October.
It definitely hit different.
October.
Yeah.
Walking down Michigan Avenue. And the wind blew. And I was just shook. I was like, man, it's like, what was that? What was that? It was October, man.
I think I was in Chicago more recently than you were. I went for All-Star Weekend in February. I went for NBA All-Star Weekend in February. And I tried to, and I live in Connecticut. And I've lived in Massachusetts. I lived in New England since 2001, okay? I thought I could do my little layer thing in Chicago. Bro, I was walking down the street one night. I immediately went to the Canada Goose store and bought a real jacket.
Yeah.
I realized I don't own a jacket. Like that little, I got like a hoodie. And, we don't roll like that in Chicago, though.
Same thing.
Like I had to go get I had to go splurge for that Canada Goose joint.
So think about this. Now think about this. All the black and blue division, and the only one now Green Bay. I know terrible weather. They've been blessed with great quarterbacks historically. So you can't. That's
the three other ones have all struggled.
That kind of throws it out where say it's the weather. But look at some of these other divisional opponents. Detroit in a dome. I'm not going to get into a dome argument with you, but Detroit in a dome.
Thank you.
Minnesota since what? 1980, 81, 82, somewhere in there. A dome.
Yeah.
And Chicago is just not only are you playing in a bad weather city. You're playing in a bad weather city. You're on the lake. I mean, Lake Michigan is right there. It's tough. I mean, it's tough, really, 8 games a year to say, I'm going to get this right. Now, you do have those dome games I mentioned for those divisional opponents, and you got that Green Bay game. But most of your games, the weather's awful. I don't know.
I guess.
Could that be
but
it?
you know what? You still should be able to go for 4,000. You still should be able to crack 4,000.